Hi guys, good to be back again. Career Nuggets with Jane. It's Friday. I feel like dancing, but I can't even dance. The topic is too serious, even for me. So today we're continuing our session on managing a toxic boss, and I will just start by telling a story. So this is like 18 years ago. I had this very challenging toxic boss I was dealing with. The whole signs were there, undermining me, taking credit for my work, speaking down on me. Like literally all the signs were there. But it was this particular situation, like taking all the opportunities. But I was fortunate enough to, find one of those opportunities like nobody wanted to do. And he had even told me that he wasn't going to be successful. But I gave it my best, like I was really pushing. It was becoming successful. Then one of those days I came to the office in the morning. A couple of hours later, my phone was like blasting. Everyone's calling me, all the clients. So I picked the call and like, you have to come to the boardroom next door. Where are you? This is wrong. And like I showed up in the boardroom. Apparently, what I didn't know, over the weekend he had approached all the clients, called for a meeting, told them he was going to drive it, took credit for all the success, like literally changed the whole situation, and the clients were furious. So they wanted to know why I could do that and walk out, and then like, what's going on? Of course, I came in, calmed the situation, and pretended, we wash our dirty linen, not in public. So I took over the meeting and, sorted out everything. Then when we went back, I did what I'm going to ask you to do. One of the things I did, like I sat down with this guy and I gave him feedback. And I also had a candid conversation. So first thing with this kind of situation, if you have decided you wanted to stay, remember we said you had three options. So if you want to stay, or you want to stay in the short, medium term and put your exit strategy, then listen to what I'm saying. But if you're exiting, I think just exit. So for those two situations, if you're staying, I think the first thing to realize is that those people's characters or challenges should not be reflected as your problem. So if you have a toxic person you're dealing with in the office, like a manager, that is not your problem. So don't feel guilty for it and stop blaming and judging yourself for it, because it's a good frame of mind to start from. Then secondly, I'll say you do the work. Put your ego at the door and really do the work. Don't come to the office like unwilling to deliver. I think once I made that decision to stay, so I had two situations. One, I decided to stay like I was going to figure it out. And the second one, I stayed and I told myself I'll have an exit strategy. In those cases, you want to give your best job. You want to do 110. And you want to do what your boss asks you, because that same boss, you have to do what they say, even though sometimes it keeps changing. You do this and it changes, like the milestone keeps changing and you start to doubt yourself. Did I hear right? So those things you have to consider. I think another thing you need to really consider is your mindset, your attitude. You have to learn to control your reactions, because they really almost forcing you to react in a way that is not professional in the office. So you have to be more intentional. I used to like psych myself up in the morning. Like I'm gonna be intentional with my reaction. I will not react negatively. You know what it is to spend weeks doing a strategy document, then to sit with your boss and always in looking for his mistakes. And we spend an hour talking about PowerPoint fronts and spacing and nothing about the content and the strategy, just the spacing and like something my assistant could have done. Like literally, you pay me too much for this and you pay the team too much to spend hours and weeks just talking about PowerPoint fonts. So I know those kind of. Now this video is too long. I think we can do it in one session. I'll talk to you again. Hope this helps you. Have a good weekend.